Funhouse active, king of the palace, rubber like Malcolm, balled up fist in the air to the fast lit, yeah, hands up in the air that they gun me down, I keep it 100, they crunching the numbers, I'm getting wild, young nigga got a fetish for success, if I ain't next and I just leave impression, next to rain, on the window pane, puffy plain Jane, let them second guess me, wanna cop the Porsche with the porcelain skin, grip the wheels, let the horses just why they trash the chore on my list? Out of this orbit, I saw with the pen. I'm eating good, Miss Caloric as shit. I sipped the potion and poured it. I on the tide when she poured it. Opportunity, knock at the door, then I grin. They rush for the doors, then they open like bliss. Pin stroke, game cold as the fridge. Sound wave for like
Yo. Good evening, beautiful people. We are now live with episode 2 of the E.P.I.C podcast. We are back again. Me, Ike, Justin, Jared. I hope y'all enjoyed episode 1. Please share, like, and subscribe. If y'all watching this right now, y'all hear us right now, please like, subscribe, and share this. We trying to blow up. So, oh man, there's been a lot going on, but we have a continuation. If y'all part of the Facebook group, if y'all not join the Facebook group, E.P.I.C podcast Facebook group. But if y'all are, y'all see we put a poll up there a couple days ago, well, like a day or two ago, about Russell Wilson. This is a continuation from last week. Is Russell Wilson a game manager to y'all? So, I'm gonna start this off, and I voted that he's not. I don't believe he is. I don't believe at any point in his career he has been. I just think he's played in the beginning of his career. He had a good running system, good defense, and I believe he still made plays as a QB and wasn't just managing the game. That's my take on it. Gavel.
Okay.
What was your vote? No, hold on, Jerry. What was your vote?
Gavel?
I'm talking about gavel for myself. Gavel.
No,
I'm done with
it.
it.
Gavel.
Yes, gavel as like a judge gavel. I'm done with it.
Yeah, whatever.
Because I think we spent a lot of time talking about Russell Wilson, maybe too much time.
Probably. I would love to not talk about this dude, but my answer was the third one that was on there, which I was the only one that voted for, but we only had like 6 votes. Which is in the beginning of his career, I do think he was a game manager. He was not asked or given the responsibility. Like, okay, he made plays. Like, okay, there's so many people that make plays. What's the definition of make plays? Like, Alex Smith was a game manager and he made plays.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So, in the beginning of his career, it was get a ball to Marshawn, let the defense, like, they weren't scoring a ton of points to win these games. So, he was asked to manage the game. He wasn't asked to go out and win the game. He was just asked to make sure the ball got handed off. You complete your passes when I tell you to. And
can I ask
if you
don't,
don't,
can I ask a question to that?
Absolutely.
So basically, so we're totally throwing out the development of a young NFL quarterback. So that wasn't his maybe his development years to transition to the Russell Wilson that I won't say the Russell Wilson that we have today, because obviously that Russell Wilson isn't, the Russell Wilson of old. But maybe those first couple years were his development years where he was building to be the Russell Wilson that I've seen scramble around and dipsy do and spin in and out and throw the ball 60 yards down the field in the air. That's not game managing. He's like a game breaker, if anything, at that point.
That's a play that was made. Okay, but two things can be true.
How much more of a play do you need to not be considered just go out there and just make the easy throws, make the easy completions, dump the ball off? That's game managing.
Well, we act like he did that 70 times a game. He had like
he did it a ton.
in which he would do it, and it just was blown up.
I feel like he did it enough to not have the label of a system quarterback.
That's why my point is my point, because I feel like when you think of Alex Smith, you think of a game manager. You don't think of somebody like that's gonna blow the game wide open. Like
Exactly.
you when you think of somebody like Lamar, you think of these top-notch quarterbacks in the NFL, you're preparing for that guy. And I think Russell Wilson for his career has been a guy that you have to prepare for. And
He
Absolutely.
was not in the first
No,
years. He was
no.
not
And
preparing
and
for Russell in those
well, not,
first.
I'm not
no,
not his
no,
rookie season or
no.
even his sophomore season,
I'm
but like,
saying
Wait, wait.
The
the
first couple
Super Bowl
first go
years.
years.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you were
And I
preparing for him
agree
in his
with you.
Super Bowl
I
years.
agree with you. What it was is, I'll be honest, I got a little hype, so I hit the first one and I couldn't change it. But I agree with what you said. It's during that Super Bowl stretch. And what you just said is, and like I said, I'm not even going to prolong it, but I agree. You could have both. There's nothing wrong with being a game manager. That's actually not even really a knock on him. That's
That's
just what he
definitely
was his
diminishing
first
your
few years.
talent by labeling a quarterback as a
But
game
that's
manager.
what he.
Absolutely.
But you just said it took him some years to develop. So during those first years, as he was developing, he was a
That
game manager.
no,
That's what he was
that
doing.
was speaking to the years that he was saying that Russell Wilson wasn't, the Russell Wilson in the mid years. I From day one, he's been
They
a pretty decent quarterback. He's gotten better, but he's never been just dump the ball off. Just make the easy passes. Don't do any
I
reading. Just do what we tell you to do on offense, and then we're gonna win. That's never been the case
I
for
think
Russell.
a game manager.
wow.
I think some people end their career as a game manager. So I think when you label somebody a game manager, it's like, hey, look, at your best, you're a game manager. Like
Exactly.
I look at
No,
somebody. No,
If
wait a
no.
we're
minute,
gonna
hold
try to
on.
say Alex Smith and Russell Wilson are on
That's
the
a name
same
we
level,
do.
stop
You
it.
can't.
Stop
And
it.
in the comparison, we can't forget the comparison. It was Jimmy Garoppolo. That was the
Because
comparison.
Russell
That's what got
Wilson
this
is
started.
Jimmy
All right,
Garoppolo
let me
and
ask you
Alex
right now.
Smith.
Wait,
Like,
right
So
now,
that's
right
crazy.
now.
that's the measuring stick.
Okay, so Mr. Vernon, sir, right now for your Colts, do you want Jimmy Garoppolo or Russell Wilson?
Me personally, I would take Russell Wilson.
I'm done with this question, so whenever we're on a new topic, I'll be back.
I'm just saying. My thing is, I look at it like this: as a coach, we need somebody who's gonna make plays and who's
Russell
used to
He's
getting
Wilson
making
chased.
plays right
can't
No,
now.
wait a
make
minute,
no
hold
plays.
on. Wait a minute. You didn't say Russell Wilson of last week. You said you just
He did
said
say
I
right
said,
now.
and
I
if I'm
said
right
right
now.
now.
I'm
I
He
said
did say
today.
right now.
okay, so
Yes.
okay. As of today, I would still take Russell Wilson only because he's used to playing with a bad offensive line, which our offensive line is bad, and he's used to playing with mediocre receivers, which our receivers are, and a strong running game, which ours can be. So, and with a good defense. So, our team is actually designed for a Russell Wilson. Now,
Boy, what you
Jimmy,
got in that cup?
no,
That ain't no
hold on,
slushy.
hold
You
on, hold
just
on.
said mediocre receivers
Our
and
receivers
Tyler
are
Lockett and DK.
no. First off, he didn't have DK for his whole career. So let's not talk about like DK is no. We're
No,
not,
no, no. He
I'm
didn't,
saying
but I'm saying you're comparing as if he's never had weapons on
no.
offense. You
I'm
said
not saying.
mediocre.
Well, I'm saying I'm saying Tyler
Go ahead,
Lockett doesn't get.
disrespect Lockett. Disrespect Lockett. Go ahead. Go ahead, because I
I'm
feel it.
I'm
Essentially.
I'm not. Tyler Lockett is a touchdown machine. Like and he's never dropped a touchdown pass.
This boy's
So
hands are golden.
I'm not gonna take nothing away from him. And DK is DK, and I think at some point DK will be one of the best of all time. I hope if somebody can get him the ball. But what I'm saying is when I'm saying mediocre receivers, I'm just saying like before DK through those Super Bowl runs, he didn't have somebody who dominated like that on the offensive end
Yeah, he did.
as
He
a
had
receiver.
Doug
Who?
Baldwin.
He had Marshawn Lynch. He didn't need to.
Marshawn?
I'm just saying.
Tyler?
So
So
I'm just
basically,
saying-
if a guy has decent wide receivers and a good running back, he's a game manager. It's what
No,
that's
I'm not
what
saying-
we said.
what
Then
I'm saying
where,
is,
where do you
if-
draw the line between
hold on.
Russell Wilson and the other guys? I'm not understanding.
and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying what Russell Wilson thrives in. From what we've seen in Russell Wilson, the situation he's been in, the Super Bowl runs. I'm talking about our team as the Colts right now could be compared to those Seattle teams as far as what's available, what he had available, and what he was like how he was playing at that time. So I will say Russell Wilson because he's used to that. Jimmy Garoppolo is used to a super good system to play in, which we don't have. A very good I ain't gonna say very good, but
So you're saying so you're saying
top
hold
a
on.
top 10 offensive line,
Hold on. So
which
you're saying Jeff Saturday didn't have a good system?
I'm saying Jeff Saturday don't have a system. We don't know
We
what
don't
Jeff
even, we don't know
Saturday is.
what
He
he's
was
doing.
he was
Uh,
coaching
I,
high school football before this, so we don't know
Hey,
what we're
hey,
getting.
one thing I can say about Jeff Saturday is I like him on ESPN. He knows football. I I don't know if
yes,
that
so
translates
did John
much into
Gruden.
coaching, but
Well,
you
John
know,
Gruden's a racist. That's the only reason why he ain't in the league.
But he wasn't winning either. Like
That's true.
after
But he is
he
a
came
Super
back to
Bowl.
TV.
But he is a Super Bowl quarterback coach. So
Yeah, off of Tony Dungy's team, but I feel
I
you.
agree. I agree. I agree. All right. All right. Let's move.
Yeah, yeah,
Can we
we
put
can
this
move
to
on.
rest? Are
Yeah,
we
we can
good?
put it to rest. We can
We
put it to
good with
rest.
Russell
Yep.
Wilson not being the game
I don't
manager?
care enough.
Possibly.
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
I know. All right. So Ike proposed. What is our Super Bowl favorites, man? We gonna kick this off. We gonna start with you, Ike. What's your Super Bowl favorites this year, man? This is tough. This is a great question, but a tough
I'm
question.
still thinking of this actually. Well, I mean, there's one that's clear and obvious for me, and I'm not gonna lie about my bias, but I do think we have a legit chance. I do think my 49ers is gonna be in the Super Bowl. Thinking about this, I got to setting up a story.
Oh
So my picks is Niners Chiefs
man.
rematch.
Again.
Jimmy G gets a win and then gets his money. What better story for Jimmy for him to be kicked out of the start lineup, traded damn near to, all right, we'll bring it back, restructure your deal. The dude who replaces you, gone after week one. You get back in and get to the Super Bowl. If he want to get his money, that's the way he's going to get his money. That's the story I'm writing. And obviously, I'm saying we're going to win. But I legit do think that both of those teams are legit Super Bowl contenders.
Okay, Jared. What about you, man?
I like.
so out of the AFC, I'm going with the Chiefs. I feel like
Hmm.
I don't know, man. I feel like Patrick Mahomes just finds a way to get it done. Um, I thought the Chargers were gonna be a little bit better than they are. I mean, you know, they're not bad. They were what 5-3, 5-4, 6-3, one of those three. Um,
I think he's 6 and
so
3.
my pick was the Chargers to win that division,
Chargers. I
but
think he was.
ultimately speaking, ultimately I got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs coming out of the AFC. Out of the NFC, I'm still not completely buying into the Philadelphia Eagles, but looking at their schedule, they have a good chance of going undefeated. Like I'm just being completely honest. They have a very good chance of going undefeated, meaning they'll win a lot of games, they'll put a lot of games away early, they'll keep a lot of guys healthy. They literally could possibly go 16-1, 17-0. I mean,
Yep.
there's nothing coming up on the schedule for them. I mean, you got the Giants again, you got the Cowboys again. Not really sold on either one of those. Um, I think they could finish the regular season on a high and just get that first round bye. You win one game, you're in the NFC Championship. Anything can happen from there. So, I'm going Chiefs and Eagles.
Okay. And Justin. I'm sure this will be controversial.
Eh, eh, you know, I will say
Can't
that
come
I
at the
think
controversy guy.
in the NFC, I have the Eagles, which I think y'all told y'all last episode. I
Yeah,
just
you
think that
supposed to be bringing some proof too,
yeah,
man. Where's our
yeah,
proof?
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Because
I
you
get.
said
I
this.
actually, my dude tried to. He tried to send a message, but he couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm gonna have to help him out.
He
So
probably
He should be
voted
able
on
to
that
if
poll
he
too, didn't he?
comment. Yeah, if he comment on the video on YouTube or on Facebook, it should pop up. I can post it. I can show
he
it if he posts
he
it.
he's the smartest guy when it comes to technology, but not the smartest when it comes to technology sometimes. So
Okay.
I
I'm
need to
gonna.
make sure and see what he done. But he actually
Whoa.
sent me a text, so you know what I mean. So I had to double check and see. But don't worry, I'll make sure that you guys get the proof. But I do. I like the Eagles if they can get back healthy because they got to get Jordan Davis back because they need him to help stop that run. Um, I'll be honest, San Francisco was right there for me just because of that track record they got. I just think that, the chemistry they have and everything like that. That was the second team I was thinking of, but my pick is the Eagles. I just think they're the most complete team in football, honestly. The AFC is where I had trouble. I know y'all gonna have something to say when I say this, but
You
it
better
is
not
what
say
it
a
is.
Raven.
The Ravens, we going to the Super Bowl this year.
You know what? I did
All
it. I'm
right.
gonna let you have it.
All right. So, and let me explain it though. Let me explain it because they 6-3 right now. If you watch any of the games, the loss to the Giants, they should have won. They had Buffalo, they should have won.
They definitely should
And
have lost this
Miami,
game.
we all know about the horrible debacle that took place in Miami. So the three losses, let's just be real. There could be a very good chance that they could have been 9-0 at this
Not,
point.
not,
But
not, not so. Can I speak to something real quick before you continue?
go ahead.
Those almost wins or those almost wins that end up turning to losses. That's what separates the good teams from the Super Bowl champions. So I mean, it's like if you look at the Bengals, yeah, our first three games, 3 or 4 games, we lost by a field goal. We lost. Like it doesn't matter. I feel like those close losses at the end of the day are losses, and they separate Super Bowl winning teams from the rest. That's just
I
my
hear,
personal opinion
no,
on that.
I hear you. The difference is with that is what I'm saying is they've learned since those. They've closed out
Oh,
games since then. So therefore, it's not something that they've just continued to do throughout the entire season.
right. I hear
Just
you.
kind of like, I mean, just in case you missed it, just like when we beat the Bengals. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it goes up and down.
yeah, yeah.
Last year,
I'm
you guys
just
got smoked twice, but I mean, it's neither
yeah.
here nor there.
But
They
the
also
beauty is
didn't
at
have
the end of the
Lamar.
day,
They
correct.
had them for
But
one game,
look,
the game in Baltimore where they got
well,
smoked.
but the
They
beauty
had
is at
Lamar.
the end of the day, the Bengals and the Ravens accomplished the same thing. Nothing.
I'm not saying that the Bengals is doing
So,
anything.
Well,
I
the
was just talking
Bengals, the
about your
Bengals went to
pick
the Super Bowl.
for
yeah,
the Ravens coming out of the
they
AFC.
they showed up to the dance. They showed up.
Oh, and we
Um,
lost by 1,000,000 points, right? If I
uh,
recall, we
hold
lost
on,
by a
time
field
out, time
goal.
out. Didn't you just
Oh, we
say a loss is
almost
a
won.
loss? Not even 30
Well, I'm
seconds
going
ago.
by. I'm using your ideology, though. Ideology. I'm using what you
Ideology.
said and putting it into
Your
my
logic.
situation. So
So I
if
said
you said
losses
we
don't
showed
matter.
up, you said we showed up as if we got blowed out and got destroyed. We lost by 3 points to a team that was playing in their home stadium, not their home state, but their home stadium. That's not bad in my books.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
Rams
people who
fans
take
are
moral
terrible.
victories. So
Do
I
We
mean,
don't
Rams even
have
have
any
fans?
fans.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
So
what I
the
was getting ready
stadium
to
beat
say.
San Francisco
yeah, home
fans.
games.
Everybody that comes to that stadium, their fans, like it's that's the
It's so
oddest
weird.
thing I've ever seen. Like when the 49ers were there, there was zero Rams
Let's
fans.
see a
Nah,
red.
man.
Let's see a
Like
red.
90-10 49ers. Like that's
That's
crazy.
that's our stadium too. We own them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
All right. Man, me. I'm
Go
not
ahead and say
sold
the
on
Colts, man.
anybody. I'm not sold on anybody in the NFC. That's the crazy part. Like, I'm not sold on the Eagles. I'm not sold on the Giants. I'm not sold on
NFC
the
is different this
Cowboys.
year, man.
I'm not sold on San Francisco. I'm not sold on Seattle. I'm not sold on Minnesota.
Hey man, the
Like,
question ain't who you sold on. Make a
I
pick.
know. So that's what makes this tough.
Tough.
It's so tough because all these teams are playing well right now, but we know it ain't how you play now. It's about how you finish, and
And
whoever
time
hits
out real
that
quick.
hot.
Let me add something to that. When you were saying when we're saying that the NFL is different this year, like the NFC is tough. You got the hands down worst division, definitely in the NFC, but I want to say in the NFL last season in the NFC East, they have 3 teams that have 6 wins now.
Yeah, so it's tough.
That just to put it
We'll
into
likely
perspective
get
how
3 of them in
crazy
the
this has
playoffs.
been.
That's what I'm saying, and you gotta think that's 3 playoff spots. So
If they
it's
keep it
just
up.
it's so tough. So I'm gonna say in the NFC. I don't want to say this, but I have to say this.
Say that shit.
No, I'm not saying your shit.
I don't care. Say that shit. Grab your balls, have a handful.
I like to think. I like to think that I don't want to do it.
Hey, bro, we ain't got all day.
I know. But I think that down the stretch, just cause
Hey, if you say down,
Cowboys.
slap you. I knew you was gonna
Ooh.
say some stupid.
My thing is this: if they stay healthy, and that's just been their biggest problem. They just can't. And I mean that's everybody's problem.
That's probably
They talking
one
about
year.
bringing in Odell too.
But if
That
they
might go
just,
crazy.
I think they'll play better if they stay healthy. I think they can play well down the line because their running game is getting a lot better. They defense is crazy. Like that's the biggest thing I think. Out of all the defenses, I think theirs is playing one of the best. Um, Philly, I just can't get too sold on Philly. Like I think
I'm
it's
in the
too much
same.
success too quick for a young team, and it
I'm in the
just
same boat with you on that.
I've seen it so many times where it just folds on itself.
Hmm.
Every time you get a young team that come out blazing, towards the end of the season, they start getting tired, they start getting fatigued, and it just folds on themselves. It's not a lot of veterans there to guide them. You know what I mean? They don't have that leadership in Philly on either side of the ball, really.
Yeah, they do.
Um, who?
Darius Slay, Fletcher Cox on the defensive side for sure,
But
and then they whole offensive line with the exception of Maluda or whatever his name is, they left tackle. I mean, the rest of those guys is veterans. I mean,
you
Miles
rally,
Sanders, he's been in the league for a couple years now. AJ Brown, he's been in the league for a couple years now.
bro. We
You got
talking about Fletcher Cox is probably the only viable one
Darius
because
Slay.
he came from the Lions, bro.
It don't matter. You
Nigga
said
doing the first
you
thing.
He
said
ain't leading
leadership.
nobody, bro.
That's very disrespectful.
Bro,
I'm
you can be a
sorry.
leader on a losing team. Like it ain't.
I'm
bro,
not
it
saying you
can't be
can't,
all
but
very
I'm just
fault.
saying. I'm just saying when you gonna follow somebody who accomplished something. So I would say Fletcher Cox is the only person there who you could probably rally behind. But offensively, like
I
no,
mean,
bro, you
individually,
don't.
Darius Slay has
You're not
accomplished
rallying behind
things.
the offensive line. You ain't sitting up listening to an offensive lineman like, all right, yeah, come on, bro, let's go. He's not rallying. He's no, you're not selling me
I
on that.
think what you're trying to say is that you would look for that leadership out of the quarterback. Is that what you're trying to? Yeah.
Yes, like somebody like AJ Brown, another one. Like, come on, bro, he's still
But
young in
everybody
the league.
speaks about Jalen Hurts, and his
Bro,
strong suit has
everybody's
always
saying
been his
that
ability
his
to lead.
leadership is his.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they're
Right.
resting their head on right now.
I'm not necessarily questioning the leadership per se. I'm just saying like when you haven't done that, not when you haven't won anything, and you're having a lot of early season success. We see that with what happened in Arizona. How Arizona normally starts off, and then it folds on themselves. Like young guys that just don't have the leadership that you looking for, like you said from the quarterback. That you it's just I just don't think it's there yet. It looks good, but I just don't think what they need to sustain down the road is going to be there. And I
I just have to
believe
disagree.
I'd have to agree with that.
I have
I'm
to
just saying.
disagree because Kyler and Jalen Hurts are two totally different type of. You've never heard of Kyler Murray being a leader. Never heard of him being a leader.
You
But
heard him
Jalen,
playing Call
literally
of
his
Duty when you're supposed to
pedigree,
be studying the playbook.
right? But Jalen Hurts, his pedigree, literally coming out like his probably his highest quality coming through the whole draft process has been his ability to lead.
okay.
They talk
All right,
about
well,
they
that's news
We'll
to me.
see.
really.
We'll see.
So
I'm
not
just
so you never heard about all the stuff he went through at Alabama.
look. I'm an
obviously,
Alabama fan.
with Tua taking his place, how he was able to handle that, how he went to
I'm not saying
Oklahoma,
that.
how he took the rank. I mean, I didn't know
I'm
I
not
was
saying that
anything
I'm not
that's
saying he's not a
crazy.
leader. I'm not saying he doesn't have leader quality or he's not the leader of that team. I'm just saying when you're talking about a playoff run,
I
when you're
understand
talking
that.
about
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
push,
yeah.
when you're talking about that
Yeah.
late season push, you know what I mean, to do something great. You know what I mean, to stay motivated, to rally down the line. Because right now, your record right now means nothing.
But
Because
okay.
if you lose the next 7 or 8, bro,
Well, if we're talking about having somebody to make a put, the Bengals didn't have any of that last year.
mm,
That's a great point.
that is true.
And they
I
really
don't know.
still don't have that. You know,
Before
But then,
Mahomes won, they didn't have any of that.
No,
but you got, but like coaching staff again. The
We
Philly,
relied
another.
on Matt Stafford last year, who also came from Detroit.
But
That's
but you have a staff. But then you have a coaching staff who done been there. Like again, Philly again. Like I don't know, man. It's just a young team for me, all the
Right,
way
so
around.
I mean that to me counters your point though. If you're saying you got a coach that have been there, because Philly was just
No, I'm
there
just
within
saying
10
like
years, too.
I just don't think they're gonna rally down the stretch.
But you went with Dallas, nigga. If you
So
talk about anybody who's gonna choke,
yeah.
you
Well, I'm
went
just.
with the choke artist,
And where's the leadership coming from in Dallas?
I would
Jerry
have to say
Jones.
that. No, unfortunately, but
You said
yeah.
Dak. Okay.
All right, what's your other side? I don't even want to talk about that side anymore.
That,
damn, got your opinion out of here.
man, just shot me
They
down.
voted to not even hear your AFC pick, bro.
Yeah, just Move on.
No, I said, what's
And
your other side? What's
that's
your
what
other
he said. He
pick?
said on the other side. I knew what he meant. Um, I had to go KC too. Just I was gonna say the Bills, but I just think they're too hurt. And who
They
knows
they're too
What
one
Josh
dimensional.
Allen's arm is gonna be now too, because he got something going on with his elbow. So
Yeah, I heard about that. That's
he was
unfortunate.
throwing noodles at the end of the game. Like it was horrible. Like I don't know if y'all watched the end of that game, but the way he was throwing,
I
it just
saw.
didn't look good. So who knows what's gonna happen there? Um, but yeah, I would have to go KC too. It's just like you said, it's the complete team. I thought about Miami, just because I think they're doing something special down there. But KC just they have the experience, and they have two of the best players offensively. Did like I think they're just unstoppable, even with their C receivers and their B minus running back and their
You
D
gave
plus
you
and
gave
their D
Edwards
plus
Alaire a B
defense.
minus?
I can't say he's an A. Then I'm gonna get shot down.
I was thinking lower.
Oh, okay. Well, I said B minus. I was giving him benefit of the doubt.
That's where I was getting to.
Okay, we'll see. With their with their mediocre offense and their horrible defense and their great special teams, though they're the favorite for everybody, I'm guessing, except for I'm sure except for oh my fault, Mr. Ravens here. Can't believe you said the dang on Ravens. Get the man.
You said Dallas.
So
I mean, here's
it's
the
just
thing.
as
Here's
bad
the
as the
thing.
Ravens.
Stop.
No.
They got the
Stop.
same. They
Stop.
got the just
Stop.
amount of chance as the Ravens.
Stop. Stop.
If
Stop.
that's the case, everybody
Stop.
has the same chance because nobody's mathematically eliminated at
Stop.
this point. So,
Stop.
I guess.
yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, I'm going based upon the games that I've seen. Like, even if you look at some of the games that the Chiefs has played, and again, it's irrelevant. I
They
mean,
did
still
lose
so
to the
much
Colts.
time left. Well, it's not even that, but I'm saying the Raiders played them close. The Chargers played them close. The Bills beat them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even Tennessee without Tannehill
The
gave them
Colts beat
problems,
them.
and the Colts beat them.
Oh,
Yeah, but I ain't even
feel
talking
that.
about that. But I'm just saying, even like this last game, I believe it was a field goal game, if I ain't mistaken, against
OT.
Tennessee without Tannehill. I'm just saying, like, some of the things that I've seen from Kansas City, it's not that they're not good, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying it seems like they struggle with teams who can control the time of possession. One thing about Baltimore, even though, again, I only picked them because I believe they're going to get better. This is a future pick, not from what I see now, but what I think they're going to be able to develop in by the end of the season with some of the guys coming along. That's why I'm picking the Ravens. I just don't know. I don't know what to expect from the Chiefs just because I feel like their weaknesses. You have too many teams that do that well in the AFC where I think they would struggle. So,
Oh, they're gonna have some dogfights in the playoffs.
oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, it's
Every
gonna
team
be
they come against
dogfights.
is gonna be able to run except for the Bills. The Bills don't.
They don't
Try
run.
to run
They're
the
just
ball.
one dimensional. That's why I never picked
Yeah.
the Bills.
But
They,
the Bills are gonna be tough in the playoffs. Miami, if they make it, they're gonna be tough in the playoffs. The Bengals are gonna be tough in the play. Like, there's a lot of teams that will be tough. If the Chargers make it, they'll be tough. Um,
y'all gonna be shocked if the Bills don't make the playoffs?
Shit, if Josh
At
Allen
this
is
point in
hurt,
the season?
if Josh Allen ain't
Yeah,
playing,
it's it
no,
if he
depends.
finishes the
That's
season,
gonna be a big
absolutely, I'll
factor.
be shocked if they don't make the playoffs. For sure.
it's gonna be expected if Josh Allen don't play. You're not your expectations immediately change.
I'm just curious because
It's
I
like
think
without Lamar. If something was to happen to Lamar, we ain't talking about the Ravens, nigga.
Justin,
Talking
you
about
got
just Atlanta.
Miami coming out of that division.
I do. I do. I actually and
I do too.
I actually chose them. Again, that was one of the teams I chose earlier. The Tua injury kind of threw it off, and I just I'm gonna go ahead and just say it like this. You wouldn't rarely hear me say much about the Bills because I'm not a Josh Allen believer. So therefore, I'll be honest. I'm not one who really like. He's a good player, but part of it is the bias that the media has put out there that drives me crazy, which is probably why I can't get behind the Bills, and that is they cheer and get behind Josh Allen for all his running and yada yada yada, but then Lamar gets criticized for years. You know, they talk about Cam Newton and the hits he took and how that derailed his career, but somehow Josh Allen's Superman and people aren't worried about him taking those same type of hits. Like I just and I'm not a believer because they have never committed to running the ball. And I believe in the playoffs, like I said last time, that line of scrimmage is what's going to win and lose most of them games. And if you can't commit to running, and Josh Allen can't be your guy rushing the ball 20 times a game, and then you also expect him to throw it for 400 yards too. I don't think that's a recipe for success.
I agree.
So you mad at Josh Allen for
No,
what
and the thing is,
other
I like
people are
Josh Allen.
saying?
I like. That's why I said I like Josh Allen. I just find myself kind of going against the grain with the Bills because of that, because of how they,
Okay.
how they try to shift that narrative. You know what I
See,
mean?
you're contrarian. That's fair. I am too. I be hate just to hate sometimes.
Hey, you know,
Okay. Well, I think we all kind of on the same page. We kind of got we're looking at some of the elite teams that got history, with playoff wins and late pushes, except for the Ravens
This nigga
and
said
the
Dallas.
Cowboys. So
Ain't even made the playoff.
speaking
They're
about
disrespectful.
QBs,
that's the crazy thing. He putting the Ravens and the Cowboys in there like the Cowboys just been making it somewhere. Like,
You're right. You're right. My bad. Continue, man. I don't want
thank
to
you,
derail the
thank
show
you.
with your bad
Speaking
take.
about QBs, Justin wanted to know, why do Ohio State QBs fail in the NFL?
Can I start it off?
You can
Absolutely.
absolutely have it.
I
Floor is yours,
recommend
brother.
it.
As
I
the
have nothing to
resident
say.
fan.
First of all, so is that your popcorn?
huh? Yeah. I'm sorry.
He
My
wants to
bad.
try to
My
tell me
bad.
this wasn't planned and staged. Okay, yeah, all right. First of all, Ohio State runs a system. I mean, you could say that that's a system. Clearly, C.J. Stroud now, for example, is told where the ball is supposed to go. He struggles with second, third, and fourth reads. He struggles with improvising. A lot of our other quarterbacks, or a lot of Ohio State's quarterbacks in the past, didn't struggle so much with improvising and doing different things. Um, Ohio State quarterbacks typically in the past rely a lot on running. Running doesn't really translate well in the NFL for sure. Your boy Lamar Jackson is an exception to that. I also don't think Ohio State quarterbacks really get a fair shot. Troy Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, his career ended with 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Where on earth does a quarterback's career end with 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions? You got guys like Nathan Peterman. He threw what,
He
five
threw
picks in
five in
the
a
first
game.
half of the
In a
game
game.
before?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure he's still on a roster. Whereas, you got Braxton Miller. He never even got it. It was a wrap. He never
That's why
quarterback.
he moved
He
to
was one of the
receiver.
most dynamic college quarterbacks we've ever seen. One of the most dynamic quarterbacks we've ever seen. He never even got a chance at quarterback. I don't think Terrell Pryor was that bad. I think it's just a stigma behind black quarterbacks that you have to be Lamar Jackson, you have to be Russell Wilson, you have to be incredible in order for a team to even get behind you and ride it like that. You
Even
look at JT Barrett. He's never taken any snaps. Like he's never taken a professional snap to my knowledge. I mean, what
Can I?
opportunity is there to succeed with those chances?
And can you
either.
speak on two other ones though for me? Just
Yes.
curious on your opinion on that.
Oh,
Cordell
oh,
Jones,
homie.
and then
I,
the late
I
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins was more obsessed with being in the NFL than actually being good, from what I see. Rest in peace. I'm going to speak honestly at all times. Dwayne Haskins was more interested in being in the NFL than working on his game. I don't feel like, even then, was he ever given the keys without, something on his neck. I feel like all African American quarterbacks are always, if they do get the opportunity, it's a short leash.
Very short.
And I think that wears on the mind, that wears on the brain. It's harder to play when, if you know that you make 2 interceptions, you're going to get pulled. It's a lot harder than, somebody like, say, Joe Burrow, for example. He threw 4 interceptions first game of the season. And he fumbled, I believe. But
He
he
also left Ohio
knows
State
that
for a bit.
that job is his. Dwayne Haskins in his second year, you throw 4 interceptions in the first half of the first game of the season, you might not ever see the field again. And he threw like 50 some touchdowns, his last year at Ohio State. But for some reason, that leash is just shorter. I think they know that. And there we have it. Also, my second part to that is I think Ohio State also gets that stigma of not producing NFL quarterbacks. Think about it. What schools are just putting out numerous effective NFL quarterbacks? I can't think of any. Alabama has Tua and Jalen Hurts now. Just before this season started,
And
their
Mac
jobs
Jones.
were on the line. People didn't think that those two quarterbacks were even going to remain the starters in those cities. You
Mac
know,
Jones
so
too
it's
though.
You
like,
expect Mac Jones to be good?
No, no, he just said
I
you just
mean,
said you just said
not
NFL
really.
quarterbacks, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
I
yeah,
was
that's
That's
just
fine.
kind of
what.
basing that into the root of the question
Oh
itself.
no no no
And
no 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 no! I
okay.
just no.
Yeah, so I just think it's it's always Ohio State quarterbacks aren't good or they're not. But what school just consistently has a track record of just producing quarter? Aaron Rodgers went to Cal. I mean, if we start to name all these quarterbacks that are greats in our league, uh, where they came from, I can't really find a consistency. Tom Brady went to Michigan. What quarterbacks have they put out
And
since
split
since
time.
Tom Brady at Michigan wasn't even that
He
great.
split time.
No school just puts out consistently successful NFL quarterbacks.
And to piggyback off of that,
Unless y'all
when
have
it comes,
something, like please let me know.
no, to piggyback off of that, especially with the Ohio State part of it, I want to focus on that part of it. Ohio State traditionally has black quarterbacks, great black college quarterbacks. They do really, really good in college. And as you said, like to touch on the Dwayne Haskin part, like when they were talking about Ben retiring, like they were trying to prep him before he passed away. Him,
Hmm.
but he was going with Rudolph. What's
Mason
Mason
Rudolph.
Rudolph.
Mason
Mason.
Rudolph. So they were saying there was a battle between him, which he was getting better, and things of that nature. Um, but then you have like the Russells of the world, where it's like if it's not you're not going to a team that like is so desperate, to try to change around their culture that they'll put a black quarterback back there to take a chance. Same thing like if you look at the Bears with Justin Fields.
Shout out to
Like
Justin Fields. That's what I was thinking this whole
like
time while you were talking up to that.
like the only reason why he really got a shot is because they had nothing else. They had nothing
Right.
else, and they wagered so much on him. You
I
know
don't
what I
even
mean? It
know
was like
who their backup is. Anybody know who Chicago Bears backup is? No
no.
It don't
idea.
matter.
It was just like at this point, it was like, look, we've been losing so much, and we've been striking out so much with quarterbacks that and head coaches and offensive coordinators, like that whole shuffle up there was like, look, why not give him a chance? And I feel like a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks either get lost in the system. They either, like you said, never really get a fair shot unless they go somewhere that's desperate. And if they do get a shot, like I said, the chain is so short. It's like you're not gonna get a Peyton Manning chain where you can throw
Right.
30 interceptions your first year, and they're like, all right, we'll
Exactly.
just get back to it next year. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
it's just not like that for black quarterbacks, and the way we play now. Like now, you probably can get a longer leash because the Mike Vicks, the Lamars, the Kylers, all these
Right.
guys
It's
broke
the
through and
tide
showed
is
that hey,
starting to change.
yeah,
Exactly.
they
I
showing
agree
like,
with that.
oh, we can have somebody kind of like Lamar Jackson or kind of like Michael Vick, which Michael Vick was a very good passer, and I feel like that's another thing too. There's a stigmatism behind that too that they don't believe black quarterbacks can really throw, like
And to
what I mean,
follow
make
up with
reads
that,
and throw like
you
that.
you, you take a look at the Trey Lance situation in San Francisco. That wasn't that common 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago.
No.
They pulling the keys from a established game manager and giving the keys to a young guy who what Trey Lance played, what, 10 college games or something like that,
Yeah,
some
something
It
like
was
that.
very
like
small
Something
number.
crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
something like that. That's the kind of stuff we're situations we're having now. So maybe if a Terrell Pryor was to have came out in 2021, you know, I mean, he's a hell of an
No,
athlete. I mean, he even
yeah, yeah,
received for
yeah.
1,000 yards one season. So it's just like I can't explain it. I
Well,
I have no idea,
I
other
know,
than the points that I brought up.
and I know this. I know you think like I tried to tell you, like literally, this was not anything. It came to my mind because actually this discussion had came up prior. But and so when last episode or whenever when I found out you liked Ohio State too, I figured this would be a good question to pose to you just to get another
Right.
perspective from it because it wasn't anything that's directed to you. But what
Right.
you said is kind of where the I guess you would say I can bring it all back together and maybe it'll make more sense. But before I do, to answer your question, Nathan Peterman and Trevor Simeon are the two other quarterbacks in Chicago right now.
Oh, isn't that ironic?
That is
Yeah,
wild.
Oh,
right, right.
that's a terrible
So
situation.
so here, oh,
Ooh,
horrible situation. But you actually brought out some of the things that I was hoping you did because it never was going to be an attack on you, but I had to make you believe it was because it really wasn't. I just think it's so sad, man. Like I'll just talk about like what you said with Terrell Pryor, man, one of the best athletes we've seen come through football,
man,
but yet
crazy,
no
crazy.
one coached him up. I mean, I say this: Urban Meyer, for as many games as he won, to me, he never did anything to coach up quarterbacks.
He's a
He just
system
used
guy.
athletic. Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
Yeah.
system guy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So like,
for
so
sure.
when Terrell gets to the NFL, it's like you're a freshman high school quarterback because now you're learning all the basics, and I don't think any teams were willing to give those guys the time they needed to be successful. Because kind of to your point, whether it was Troy Smith, whether it was Braxton Miller, whether it was Pryor, even with Fields, no one can tell me the guys can't throw the ball. They threw the ball in
Exactly,
college. You don't forget how
exactly.
to throw a ball. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right,
don't give
right,
me
right.
that. It's just these organizations are not willing to give, and let's just be real, black quarterbacks the same opportunities as the white counterparts. I never forget it. Like I've seen some of that, like even with Pryor and some of them. Do y'all remember when Mike Glennon got like 40 million from the Bears? Like
I
to
do
go
remember
play
that.
quarter, like you know what I mean. So like we can
Yeah, I
name
do.
all these guys who just
The
got
fact that
paid.
Mitchell Trubisky is still on the
True.
roster blows
Hey,
my
but
mind.
I
Because
mean,
when they
you
said
remember?
he was
And
competing for the
starting.
starting job
And
with
he did.
Haskins, I'm like,
Yeah. Hold on. You remember Matt Flynn? I mean, Seattle signed him to go there. You know what I mean? So like we
After
can
And he
one
only
game
came
though,
in for a few games for Aaron
for
he
Rodgers,
Russell.
blew up in
and
one
he won
game.
like four
One guy,
games, and then he
yeah.
got crazy contract.
But you see what I'm saying? Like it's like there's this thing, like you said, it's the stigma, whatever it is, where it's like, all right, these guys, all right, here's where all they gotta meet. But for you other melanin type people, right here. So it's not
immediately,
equal.
you don't even get no
Immediately.
buffer time. Right.
Immediately. Yeah, like so that's what I don't that's what I don't like, and that's where kind of going back to my whole thing earlier with Josh Allen, it's not Josh's fault.
Right.
But Josh, let's just be real, before he got Stephon Diggs, Josh was average. Very inaccurate, kind of all over the place with it. He really relied on his legs. Lamar comes in the last 6 games of a season and he's
It's off.
crucified. You know what I mean? Because he had to depend upon his. Well, a lot of young quarterbacks do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's here nor there. That's kind of where I want to leave it because I'm with you. I don't like. I'm actually worried about Stroud because of what you said, the
Oh,
stigma. You know, the
you worried
stigma
about
that's
him?
there,
Oh my
and then
god.
where he goes because
Ooh,
he's gonna
wee.
need a system that's gonna give him an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And
I
I'll
don't.
tell you one thing. He might be loved by whatever coach he gets because he's not gonna run. I'll tell you that.
True
He ain't
that.
running
He
nowhere.
ain't no running
My
nowhere.
first step is quicker than CJ Stroud's first step. Like, and I'm standing on that.
Yeah,
That
quick
boy
And
first
ain't
step
running
on Hall of
nowhere.
Fame.
Hey,
Oh,
so
he
what do he
and
say? So
that's
CJ, if you're listening and you want to test it, my man said first step, he got you.
I'm pretty sure my first step is faster than CJ
He said
Stroud's.
out the
He's
block
just
first
not.
10 meters.
He's just not. He's not wired like that. And I
No, he's
think
not.
that might be something that because it's not even the aspect of running, scrambling. Getting in and out of different situations that defenses are going to throw at you. I don't see it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And
I
see,
don't
and
see it.
I
I'm with you.
think that's like what we're like. This conversation now is a great conversation to lead into our next topic, because we're talking about systems and what people can do and can't do, and coaching
Right.
up quarterbacks and things of that nature. Like, I gotta talk about the Colts hiring Jeff Saturday as their intern coach,
I like
and
it.
talking about systems and things of that nature. I can't say I don't like it, only because I'm unsure, just because I have nothing to go off of. So I'm unsure. I'm cautious. I'm nervous, but it's not that I don't like it.
Let me
But
ask
in the
this.
NFL, to have a first year quarterback, first year coach that has no prior coaching experience in the NFL, I think it's tough. In the NBA, I think you can kind of sort of get away with it, just based on the talent you may have. But I think it's so many moving
Unless you're Steve
parts.
Nash.
Yeah, something like that. But I think it's so many moving parts and so much go on in the day to day of a football team. I just think it's tough. But he did come up under a lot of good coaches itself. You know, the Tony Dungy's,
Right.
um, a lot of those guys who I think from what, like I said, from him being an analyst, I heard him on ESPN and things of that nature. On the Pat McAfee show, I've heard him on there. Like he knows football.
Oh yeah.
That part I'm not
Oh,
worried about. It's just like, what are you gonna do on the
so
defensive side? Like,
For sure.
what do we have to look forward to? Like, go ahead, Ike.
what's his high school record? Like, how's he doing
I
in high
don't know. I
school?
didn't look into that. I should have.
That's actually
That's a
something
great
good that we
thing.
should come back to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
next
want to know if
episode.
he
I
was
will.
even. I heard he was 3-7 this year, but I don't know about previous years. Like,
Mm,
was he even successful in high school to be like, hey, this is somebody who could probably jump college and come all the way up and coach an NFL team? I have absolutely no idea what he can do. Yeah, so yeah, he knew football. Well, yeah, John Gruden was doing quarterback college or whatever that shit was, and went and
quarterback university.
did not. What is Derek Carr? He ain't no better than he was before Gruden got there. So I mean, yeah, and who says that Gruden don't know football?
That's true.
All right, so let me jump in real quick. So I just did a quick Google search. I'm showing the last two seasons, Jeff Saturday has a combined 20 and 16 as a head coach of Hebron Christian Academy in Georgia. That's according to two sources. So just want to throw that in there. I think the Colts need a spark right now. I think with everything that has gone on, the way the seasons went, the Colts need a spark. And then I'm not sure if one of you guys brought this up or I heard this, listening to something else, but it was the coaching job is an interim. They put the interim on there, for a reason. Do you guys pull, a defensive coordinator from somewhere mid-season, and then, ruin what he has going on for the season? Then when the whole entire football season is over, you say, "Nah, we're gonna go with this guy." Then you just pull this guy from another situation. I mean, I guess you could bring somebody who's not currently active. I feel like an interim coach, you should either one keep it in house, or I mean, just get somebody that you think's gonna give this team a spark. So I mean, the Colts aren't far. The Colts aren't far off to me. I feel like they have some very disappointing losses. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in the league. Now the receiving core is not the greatest. I feel like the Colts defense is actually really good because even these games you're losing, you guys aren't giving up tons of points. So and you
No,
figure
absolutely.
you keep the offense on the field a little bit longer, they might even give up less points because that's less possessions for the opposing team. So the Colts aren't in a terrible situation. I think giving them a spark, something a fresh, a new voice to hear, it might turn the season around. Do I have them going to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not.
Do you have
But
going to the playoffs?
probably not.
Playoffs.
I didn't think so.
Right. Can they finish the season with an even record, possibly even a winning record? Absolutely. Because as
But
bad
they
as the
can't
Colts
finish with
look
an
so
even record because, well, I guess they can because
yeah,
they
well,
tied.
it's because it's like me and my brother was talking about this. The bad as the Colts seem, or they're 2 games under 500. Throwing a tie out. It feels like the Colts are 1-7, but they're what 3
That's
5
how
and
we've
1.
been playing, bro. We've been playing like we were running
It feels like
17.
that.
But
I
here's
think.
here's the thing. Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just gonna say here's my thing when it came down to the Colts. I don't dislike the Just Saturday thing. Like most people, I just didn't understand it. But then I guess the one thing that kind of I guess that Joy Taylor, she brought it up, and I thought it was a good point. I didn't think about it. She didn't bring up this first part, which was the part that I didn't like after they fired Frank, which was you tried to use the OC as a scapegoat, and then I heard Frank was really the one calling the plays anyway.
But he
So
is.
I,
He does absolutely call
yeah,
the plays.
so you use, and if I'm not mistaken, they said the OC, was he a black guy? If I'm not mistaken.
He was,
So
and
I
he was their
didn't.
QB coach too.
Okay, yeah. See, and I didn't like him being used as the scapegoat. And then on the
Right.
backside, I didn't even realize it, but what Joy Taylor had said in this little skit that I saw, a little piece of it was, you got already had Reggie Wayne in the building. Why not give them someone they're familiar with? And I'm not saying this, he would have been better, worse, whatever, because I can't speak on that. Only time will tell. But it does make sense because she was saying there's too many times who we're seeing this, which is the problem. You're bringing in this guy who is not a minority to come in and coach when you have other minorities, even in this situation in your own building, that you're not willing to give that interim opportunity.
Absolute facts.
You know what I mean? So
Absolute
that's
facts.
where I have to say I gotta agree with her on that. And really, the Colts could have won me over had they went ahead and called my man Edrin James and said, "Come coach us, baby." Now if y'all let
Hey,
Edge coach
hit
with
him
the
with the
dreads and the
gold too.
golds, that would have
I
changed the
try to
game.
give teams the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe they did speak to Reggie Wayne, and maybe Reggie Wayne was like, "Nah."
Could be, yeah, it could be, could be.
You
I
But
know,
lived in
Because
Indiana.
from my
I ain't
understanding,
giving them no benefit of no doubt. They ain't talk to that black man.
no,
they ain't
from
called
my
it.
probably
understanding,
right
it took them a while to get him to come and be the wide receiver coach. Like he really
because he didn't
wasn't.
want to coach.
He didn't.
So is he like a full time coach? Like he's on the sideline during the
I
games?
believe,
He's
yeah, I
full
believe he's
side wide
actually in the
receiver coach.
building and
Really?
everything.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yep.
Nice.
What
I think.
the other?
Go ahead. No,
Go
go.
ahead. Oh, so the other
No.
issue is they've been like trying to bring in these has-been quarterbacks
Yep,
for the last
yep.
couple of years, hoping that they was gonna strike gold with them. And I mean, Philip Rivers had a better year than most people expected.
Hmm.
But after that, it was like, all right, who we gonna bring in? Carson Wentz. Yeah, he's been dead for about 4 or 5 years, but it's cool. We're just gonna let him throw the ball on the ground for a couple of games, and then we'll get rid of him after a year. Oh, hey, Matt Ryan. I know you threw the ball a lot down there. You been getting hit a lot. You
Man,
probably ain't got much left in your system. Why don't you go ahead and come throw the ball on the ground a couple times over here? And so we just put you
that's
on the
why I
bench
feel
for
like it was
somebody that
coaching,
nobody
man.
even knows.
Because with that defense and that running game, I mean, you should be able to plug any game manager in that situation and be able to win some games. You know what I'm saying? Like that's granted they could add to their wide receiving core, but with that running game and that defense, I mean, there shouldn't be too many guys in the NFL that can't come in and win some games with the coach. So, and I think
I agree.
Carson Wentz played a lot better
Better. Yep, that's what I was gonna say. The more people
than
give him credit,
people give him credit for.
mm-hmm.
Um, could he
He
have been
wasn't
better?
terrible.
Absolutely, but
He wasn't terrible.
he
I
wasn't
mean,
I
terrible at
think it
all.
was the roller coaster ride that we call Carson Wentz that kind of threw everybody off.
but Carson wasn't
It's,
the reason you lost to Jacksonville.
I think it was coaching.
It
It
was
has
I'm
to be
coaching.
just
coaching.
just hear me out.
Coaching is
I'm
the
not
common
talking
denominator with the
Jackson
coach right now.
Yes, it is.
It
Jacksonville.
literally has to be.
But
The
Carson Wentz
Jacksonville.
was handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor. He didn't have to do much.
But I'm saying, but they still couldn't make the playoffs. Why? They had the
Well,
talent. It's the
well,
coaching. I mean, that
that's
coaching
fair
had
point.
like 7 quarterbacks, bro. Like at some points, it ain't the quarterback. It's the one coach.
Yeah, they could have kept Jacoby
They could have
Brissett.
coached
Like,
Jacoby. Yeah.
passed on him,
Yep.
and he's holding it down. Well, now Cleveland's struggling, but hey, they look like Super
But
Bowl
it ain't
champions
necessarily.
against us a couple weeks ago. So
And
well, I don't
Jacoby's
know. I
had
can't call it.
he's had some games for, like, don't get me wrong, he threw an interception I think to lose the game against the Jets, but he's had some games for him where he's been slinging it around.
Right.
Jacoby ain't looked bad at times, so
I think we also looking at the picture kind of sideways. I think we need to straighten up the picture and kind of start at the top. You got to think about who our owner is also, Jim Irsay.
Yeah, I was gonna say anybody don't talk about Ursay.
He
He's
he's
still on
not
pills.
having no black quarterback.
oh,
Not for any stretch of time that he don't have to. He's not doing it. Same thing with black coach.
And y'all think he
Not
talked to
doing it.
Reggie Wayne.
I'm just saying, it's just not. It's not Indiana. It's not Indiana football, and it never has been. If you look back through since '85, since we've been here, that's just not our thing.
Black
Dungy,
quarterback coach
even
gotta be
though
on the
Dungy
Super
won
Bowl.
us a Super Bowl, our only Super Bowl, it was an anomaly, and the only reason why Caldwell got the job is because Dungy, on his way out, said, "Hey, look, he's next." You know what I mean? I brought you a Super Bowl. All I ask is that you give him the job next, and that's the only reason why Caldwell got it. He had it for 2.5 years, and they got rid of him. And even in Detroit, he went to Detroit, the only coach in the last 15 years of Detroit
That
that
had a
had a
winning
winning record.
and then gets
They
fired.
end up getting rid of him.
Yep.
So it's
Crazy.
just sometimes you have to look at the front office and you have to look
That's
at
short
ownership
leash,
and you have
man.
to look at those type of tendencies. So the
But we're not
quarterback curve,
surprised by Detroit and teams like that doing
No,
that. That's
no,
why
I'm
they've
just-
been bad for so many years. That's all.
exactly.
That's
And
absolute
see,
facts.
and that's kind of bringing it back to the Colts. Is like that's why we're having this QB carousel right now. Is because we're too good to draft high we can't get high enough in the draft to get who we need. Like we got it
Call that the
lucky with
LeBron
Andrew Luck.
effect. We'll say that for another
It is,
episode.
but it is. It's like you can't get high enough to get the QB that you need,
Right.
You're just good enough to barely miss the playoffs or make the playoffs every year, so you're always drafting in the middle. So it's kind of like you don't, but you don't want to miss this window. This window where you got a good running game, you got young talent, you got young offensive line, you got a good defense, and I feel like Irsay in the front office feel like, hey, look, the reason why we're trying to bring in proven veterans at QB is because they're like, hey, look, we feel like we can win right now. We don't need to rebuild. We're not one of
Absolutely.
those teams that feel like they got to start over from scratch right now. We feel like we got a good team together, and when they're trying to win now. And I
And
just
that
think it
should
just
be
ain't
exactly what
been.
the situation is.
I agree, but it's just like you, but like Ike said, outside of Rivers, ain't nobody you bringing in. You bring it in like you said, people who ain't done nothing and has-beens, and I think you really need to bring in somebody. You gonna have to go in the draft. I think this
And
year
finally invest in somebody.
you just take your lumps. You're not losing much. Jonathan Taylor been injured, so let him sit. You know what I mean? Coach
Are
up the
you
defense.
suggesting that they tank?
I'm not saying
Man,
tank.
that was
But it
literally
sounds
what I
like
was thinking. Like you
No,
that's
took
what it
I'm not.
sounds
the
like.
words right out of my brain.
Oh my god. I'm not saying tank on purpose, but what I'm saying is protect your investments.
Can you
Like
tank on accident?
you can. Miami.
You think that was an
Miami for
accident?
yeah, they planned it like an accident.
Hey, if you
So
ask Brian was it Brian
Flores.
Flores? But it wasn't an accident.
Wasn't no
nigga, they
accident.
was paying.
Uh-huh.
Ain't that about
Hey,
y'all for about
pretty-
100K to throw games?
yeah,
What?
depends on who you talk to. It
But
might
I'm
have
just saying,
been
like,
on
I'm just
purpose.
saying, like, your best player has been hurt. You ain't got to rush him back. He's in and out the lineup. No need to rush him back. Your best player on defense has been hurt. No need to keep rushing him back. You know what I mean? Play football, play competitive football. But hey, if you, I don't think we put so much emphasis on this season that we're like, hey, look, this is all or nothing. I say you get you a good draft pick, do what you gotta do, get you a good draft pick, and hopefully you catch fire sometime next year. You get you a guy that can come in and be your franchise QB because that's really it. Like you said, coaching. Okay, you done made the coaching change. There ain't nothing we can do about that. Next year is gonna be a whole new regime in there as far as coaching. So you bring in a young quarterback with a new coaching system, new coaching, a new everything, brand new system, everything, and you move forward in that direction. You already got your veterans. You already got everything else intact. All you need is somebody to coach them and move them in the direction together.
Better get you a new
That's
GM too.
no. I like Ballard, but
How you? Here's my thing. I don't know how you like a GM who allows the team to have the same exact issue for the last 4 seasons. He's yet to address the wide receiver issue. Let's just call it what it is. So that alone for me, I can't with you because you're not even addressing the issue at hand.
then you also got to look at it too. Is has it? I think the wide receiver issue has always been overshadowed by the QB issue. Does that make sense?
Here, okay, here's the thing.
Because you can't really tell which is which. Because just like okay,
Oh
like
yeah, you can. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just
when
saying.
your receivers like right now, there are
What?
teams who have receivers who can't create any kind of space. They quarterbacks are throwing in the windows super tight. That ain't always that's the Colts. That ain't quarterbacking. That's not having players who can get open and do it consistently. It's what they've done though. Ever since Peyton left, think about it. You relied just on Ty. Then as Ty got broken down and older, then you finally got Pittman. But then you're not getting Pittman nothing. And I know Pierce has shown some things. Paris Campbell can't stay healthy. I know they think they have something, don't get me wrong. But thinking and having it, like you said, if this window, I don't care what team it is, we all know windows don't stay open for long in the NFL.
No, not at all.
No.
You better take advantage of it while you can. So the fact that he's going to allow the window to close when really you only had some small issues to close, nah, he can't stick around, man. I'm sorry, he can't stick around.
And you've got to bring somebody
I
in to
agree
help them
with that.
quarterbacks that you have
You got to.
essentially been like they throw the ball on the ground because the receivers ain't open for the
They're
most
not.
part.
Yeah, I mean, because they can't
Okay.
get it open.
But then also when you bring in a GM, a lot of times you do that. Like the new GM don't want to keep the team they want to draft their own players. I'll say it like that.
On a bad team, yeah. Colts ain't bad. This
So
GM would
you
love to take a GM. You can get a GM to man. They'll love this job. They'll love because
Justin preaching.
you
think
don't
so?
have much to change. You really don't. And
Okay.
you're gonna look. And here's the thing: you make those few tweaks and say, for example, if the Colts win the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl, he's gonna look like a genius. He's gonna look like a genius and be able to write his own ticket for a few years after that.
Balling out on Mass Ave.
Yeah, yeah. At the Punch Bowl Social, you know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. All right. So we got to switch gears a little bit, just a little bit. I know we've been talking a lot of football, a lot of football, but we got an issue at hand. In our community, I'm gonna say our community. Well, first off, before we switch gears, we did pick'ems. We didn't do it on screen. We didn't do it live on the show, but we did it throughout the week. So we picked our games, and what we're gonna do is just records, just not to draw out the show. So I want to before we switch gears, I want to get our records out here now.
That's what's
I
stupid
know it's
football.
been highly anticipated. The man who rubbing his hands together might not after this. Um, this is our pick'em record. Now, I gave everybody the Philly game because we kind of announced
No,
it.
no.
We kind of announced it at the last minute. So that's on
I
me.
got mine in. I got
You
I
did
got
get-
mine
he
in
was
too. I got mine
no
in too.
first. I just gave everybody the Philly game. That's only one
All right.
game.
We would have all picked Philly anyway.
right.
Yeah. So I gave everybody the Philly game. Right now I'm sitting at 6-7, mainly because of Colts and the Commanders. Isaac's 10-3.
Dang it.
Just
Well, you had the Commanders beating the Vikings.
I did. I don't believe in the. I don't believe in the Vikings.
I mean, I don't either, but I mean, I believe in them more than the
Exactly.
I just
Commanders.
don't.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
That's a shocker, man.
Yeah. Um. And
that
and you
brings
two
up
are
real
7-6. So
That's terrible.
yeah, but it's
I
better than
should've-
6-7.
I should have did a parlay last week.
Eat it.
Now I'm curious.
So-
I got to go back and see what games I lost.
Yeah.
That's
so
kind of trash.
so again, we're gonna do the same thing. Y'all send them to me. We'll just keep updating the records. And I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of a prize, a cool prize for whoever wins. Um, we'll do something. I'll do something for y'all. Whatever. We'll figure something out. So, moving on. Again, we have an issue in our community that we want to address in the NBA. We want to. I want to talk about this Kyrie Irving, and we're already at an hour, but I just want to touch on this
We'll get it in real
because I
quick.
feel like it's important.
I gotta use the bathroom.
I'm sorry, sir. What is Kyrie Irving's future in the NBA with everything that's been going on? From what y'all know,
What's his
Uh,
future? As in, is he gonna stay in the NBA? Like, because somebody's gonna take a chance on it, regardless if he's ever released by Brooklyn at all. Like, I mean, he's still a very, very talented player, and the NBA has shown that they're willing to at least take some kind of. We'll take his backhand stuff if he's going to give us buckets. Should they? It's a different story. But somebody's going to take him. Minnesota's already said that they're willing to trade for it.
My question to you guys is this: I don't really know the answer to this. Is he suspended by the NBA or is he suspended by the Brooklyn Nets? So
He's
basically,
suspended by the Nets.
who?
Nets.
So the Nets put out that list of things that
Yeah.
oh, well that's game time then.
Well, the
He gonna get
NBA
traded.
suspended him, but then to
Uh-huh.
be reinstated, that was done by the Nets. Is my understanding.
I thought it was.
Well,
all the
then
Nets.
yeah, he might be screwed then.
Yeah.
'Cause-
That almost looks like the Nets are like, yo, we know you're not going to do this, so
yeah,
we're
they're
gonna give you
railroading.
this impossible task so
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
come back.
That's
Can I-
that's tragic.
Can I just say it this way?
Go
And this
ahead.
is my quick take on it. I'm gonna be real. This is the situation to me where you got some quote unquote powers that be looking at this black dude saying, "We gonna flex on you. We gonna show you that you ain't got the power that you think you got," and they flexing
Yep,
on him
that's
because
exactly
the
what it
reality is all that nonsense that they got him doing. Man, come on, man. It ain't even about basketball no more.
Not at all.
Like it's, you know what I mean. So it's unfortunate. it's unfortunate, and
Right.
I just what's his future look like? I don't. I guess it depends on if he decides to, whatever that 5, 6 things he has to do. If he decides to do that, I mean, I think he gets back to it. But it wouldn't shock me to see that. Like he seems like a dude who, man, he could just up and retire next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it, I just after stuff like that, you lose your love for something. And I think
Right.
if he lost his love for the game and playing it at the NBA level, I could see him retiring after this year and calling it quits.
Yeah. And he's
Right. I
saving
can
his
also
money, so he don't need it. Like he
Yeah,
don't
I
need the
can
checks.
I can
he
also
don't.
see him sitting out this year, and then I mean,
Yep.
this is your last year of his contract. Sit out the
And
rest of
Brooklyn
this
and
year.
Brooklyn might even pay him to do it. You know what I mean? Real talk.
They might. They might. I mean, I just think it's an unfortunate situation that he's in. But I don't totally understand why everybody is enraged with all the other people that are choosing to not involve themselves in it. I've seen some posts where people are mad at, Steph and mad at LeBron and mad at James Harden that they're not coming to his defense on a subject that they probably don't even know a lot about.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about
Yeah.
before we went on air, not everybody's into the Hebrews and the Jews and way back when, and I'm personally myself not into it. So if I was Kyrie's blood brother, I mean, I'd probably be like, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I don't really want to involve myself in this situation, especially if my money and my livelihood is on the line. And I don't think people should be made to feel like they're sellouts because they're not running the jump in the middle of this. How many times have we heard in the black community, mind your business? You know what I'm saying? But now, a guy makes a mistake, or I don't even want to call it a mistake. A guy makes a decision. He's suffering quote unquote consequences for it, and now we're mad at everybody else because they're not putting their livelihood on the line for something that I'm sure these guys probably haven't watched that movie. Kyrie may be the only guy in the NBA that saw that movie.
I
So
mean,
I don't think that's right, but free Kyrie, I'm definitely supporting him. I feel like anybody and everybody should be able to voice their opinion on things. Like I said earlier to you guys before we went on air as well, I didn't even know what anti-Semitic was till maybe like a year ago. I think when Myers Leonard got nailed for it, what was that, like last summer or something like that?
yeah,
Maybe it was the
something like
summer
that. Yep.
before.
2 summers. Yeah,
That
something like
was the
that.
first time I was privy to what anti-Semitism actually even was. So I hate that Kyrie is going with this, but I'm totally okay with guys kind of staying out. I don't think anybody should jump in and be a save of Kyrie at this point. He's a man. The situation is unfortunate, but he's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak a little more at lengths about it. I have watched some of the movie. Like I said, it was just tough for me. It's a 3 hour movie.
Yeah.
Um, it's super long, um, and it's like kind of what he was saying. It's just exploring your heritage. If that's what you believe in,
Right.
and
If
in a
that's your thing, that's
country,
your thing.
right, in a country where they say that you're free to practice your religious beliefs however you feel fit, without without penalty, for him to not even comment, he just
Just
posted a
posted it.
link.
Yeah.
He just posted a link. He didn't say anything about it. He just
Didn't say he
posted a link.
supported it. Didn't do any of that.
He just posted a link. You know what I mean? Didn't nobody even ask him if it's what he believes in or what. It's just a link. So to do that and all of this comes from that, and to make this man, who they're saying offended a whole race of people, and they're only saying that because um they feel like the movie is talking about that the Jews aren't as relevant as the Israelites. So what is there's opposing views with that, from what I gathered, and it doesn't matter. Like, what about black people who think Jesus is black, or what I mean, white people think Jesus is white, or who people who India people come from India, different countries, they believe different things. Like, 2,000 religions out here. Like,
Right.
when are we? Who we not scrutinizing everybody's social media. I feel like black people, whenever we mess up, I feel like
It's
they drop the
magnified.
hammer on us,
It's
and they
magnified.
make
Yep. It is.
exactly, bro. They make us go through all these hoops. But when people disrespect us, when So like the malice in the palace, you think about like when white people have done things to us, you know, nobody's held accountable. The whole Brett Favre situation, nobody even cares. From a state that is majority black, from
That's why they don't care.
from a system that's
Exactly.
Right.
that's that black people are like, nobody cares about these situations when people do black faces and all these different things. These entertainers, these spokespeople, these talk show hosts, like it's been so much that done went on. But soon Whippy do something, they own her. You know what I mean? Soon as like when we do it, it's always magnified, and that's one thing I don't like about the NBA. I don't really like about sports period because the NFL is the worst at
Same.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I mean? Whenever we do something, and we make a majority of these leagues, we make y'all money. We bring people in the stands. Ain't nobody coming to see these white boys. I don't give a fuck. Ain't nobody coming to see them in the NBA. Outside of Luca, it ain't too many of them. Joker, it ain't too many of them you're going to see. You coming to see us. You know what I mean? We are all the greats. Outside of Bird, it's a sprinkle of them, Jerry, but it's us. We dominate, bro, for real. You know what I mean?
You called him a
And for the
dobo.
for the way that we get treated, bro, like it's horrible, bro. It's horrible, and it really to be a sports fan is really a turnoff, bro. It's really a turnoff to see this happening. And Kyrie, don't get me wrong, like sometimes he put himself in situations, and I'm not saying he right, wrong, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. It's about the response. I don't think he did nothing wrong. You know what I mean? Not to the extent to where you talking about apologizing to a whole race of people
Correct.
when y'all
Yeah.
won't even teach slavery in school. When y'all don't want to teach about slavery in school, but
Literally.
y'all want to make this man
Literally.
apologize to a whole group of people, but don't nobody apologize to us.
Nah.
We don't
We
apply
all-
that pressure though.
We don't even
apply
get
that same pressure.
acknowledged.
That's the right there.
Come
What you
on,
just
man.
said. We don't apply the same type of pressure, but we also don't have the same type of pull. Unfortunately, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
true too.
our community don't do a lot of this, and that's part of the problem. Like
Exactly.
if we learn to move more like this, man, we'll be able to get more accomplished, man.
We'll
But
be able to do a
yeah,
lot of
a
things. For
lot of
sure.
things.
And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like, if and that's why, like, to what you were saying, like, people scrutinizing other players for not coming out and supporting Kyrie. This is the reason why though, because they're scared. Because they know what happens when you get behind things as black people because of how they treat us.
That's true, but what if they really just don't have an idea what is even being talked about?
Okay, cool.
Not
Now,
all those
but you
NBA
talk
players are not privy to this movie. I'm sorry,
cool.
I don't believe it. I
Cool.
don't think we even all are.
Look, I think you're 100% right on that. I don't think most
I
of them
have
probably
no
never
idea
heard
Right,
it
about this.
right.
until this
I
all
can't
came
jump
out.
off. I
Okay.
can't jump off the cliff for somebody that's backing this, and I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right,
Like,
cool. So we talk about understanding, we talk about learning, we talk about the list of things that Kyrie got to do. All right, hey, Kyrie, we don't know what's going on, bro. What's up, bro? Let's have
and
a
I'm sure that
conversation.
conversation is being had behind closed doors.
Because you look at
absolutely.
somebody who is kind of privy to it, Jalen Brown, you like, bro, Kyrie cool. I understand exactly what Kyrie mean. You
How
know what I
come he's
mean?
not facing that same backlash though? Apparently, he's doing something correct, or
But
you
Jalen,
know.
but Jalen's always been that way. He's always spoke out for us. You know what I mean? I think when you come into the league and that's the way. See, Kyrie ain't always been this way. Like he's
He's a different
he's
dude, but
growing. He is.
he's allowed to be different. There's nothing
But
wrong
I
with
think
that.
Jalen's always came in and been that voice of black activism. So I think when he do it, the same thing with like Kareem and them. Like it's certain players that you just that's known for, it, and I think Jalen's one of them guys. That's why he don't face the backlash. But I just think, like I said, I think it's really unfortunate, and like I hope that there's understanding on both sides, not just trying to force Kyrie to backpedal on what he believes, and it's not bad. Like it's not bad.
Well, he never technically even said he believed it.
That's what I'm just saying. Like, but
what he
that's
shared.
but that's the message that they're pushing.
Mm.
When they're saying that he's disrespecting another, a race of people, and it's like, It's like, dude, like he just let him be. Just say, hey, look, that's a religious belief, and move on. So
But he can't. The problem is he's not allowed to move on
Nope.
he's
because
not.
they've literally drugged this out now. So therefore, he's not allowed to move on like others were. Like your Donald, what's the
Donald Sterling.
Sterling, that dude. Like
Man.
some of these people, like you know what I mean. It's again what you said earlier. We ain't heard about the Brett Favre thing since then. Nobody can even say what's happened. Had, oh, I'll pay the money back. I didn't know about it. Okay, Brett. No offense, but you sound like most white politicians or most people of white culture when it comes to them getting caught doing something. Oh, I didn't know about it. Oh, my bad. I'll pay you back. Yeah, you're doing all that because you got caught. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
but then you're not forced to do a list of things to be able to continue to do what you're doing. I bet Brett Favre is still coaching wherever he's coaching at. I didn't hear nothing about Brett Favre losing his Wrangler deal. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
come on now. Like, Kyrie
Right.
lost Nike, right? Kanye lost Adidas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, our culture, and I hate that it always seems like this is a conversation we have to have about black and white. But the reality is this: I don't even think that we want to have this conversation, but we're forced
No.
to. Look at the position we're
Absolutely.
put in. We have to have the conversation, otherwise we'll really never get anywhere.
Exactly. And to piggyback off that, Sterling got to sell his team. This man made billions off of that sale.
Oh, you
I-
mean I gotta sell them and get $5 billion? Okay.
Dang,
No,
poor
you
me.
have to forfeit your
Dang.
team.
I'm really hurting now.
Such a stiff penalty.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Like, no,
So
the penalty should have been like you forfeit your team as an owner. You forfeit it. It'll go up for auction.
Ooh,
I would have put in on that.
that would have been.
It goes up for
He put-
auction.
man,
Sorry,
that-
sir.
What?
Have
I
a good
start
day.
the bid at $100.
He would.
You know what I mean?
Man, he would have took himself if that had happened.
I'm just saying
that's-
though, but like,
yeah.
make the punishment fit the crime, and it's just like with us, it's an ant, it's a ant to a sledgehammer to an ant, and for white people, man, it's literally when they say a slap on the wrist, bro, it's literally that, bro. So I don't want to be the
Remember
dead
this.
horse.
That's
It's
why you
horrible.
don't see us in ownership. They can say what they want. They take it to the groups for voting and all this. And we've heard of different people talking about they tried to buy NBA or NFL teams. Ask yourself this: why don't we ever see them actually get into the room and get ownership of these teams?
Look how long it took
Yeah,
Jordan to do it.
Jordan's the exception to the rule because no offense, but Jordan bought into the whole country club boy thing years ago.
Yeah, but I'm
So-
just saying, even with that, it's still
I ain't
took
even-
him a
I'll
long
be
time.
honest.
Republicans
I-
buy shoes too, brother.
Yeah. Hey, but I don't even
Bruh.
mess with Mike. Real talk. Mike. Real talk. He ain't for y'all. Don't fall for none of them. That
I know.
silliness, man. He ain't for us. Don't even
Yeah,
fall for that.
I'll wear his shoes all day, but he's
Yeah.
not for us, man.
Nah,
Yeah.
I totally
he ain't
agree
for
with
us
that.
at all.
I agree. So I think that's a good place to end that for the day, man. This has been another great episode. I appreciate you guys. Again, if y'all watching, if y'all listening, like and subscribe, support the channel, share, like. And we will see y'all next Wednesday, again at 8. This has been, again, the Epic Podcast.
Let's rock.
Funhouse active, king of the palace, rubber like Malcolm, balled up fist in the air to the fast lit, yeah, hands up in the air that they gun me down. I keep it 100, they crunching the numbers, I'm getting wild. Young nigga got a fetish for success. If I ain't next, and I just leave impression. Next to rain on the window pane, puffy plain Jane. Let them second guess me, wanna cop the Porsche with the porcelain skin. Grip the wheels, let the horses just spin. Why they trash to the chore on my list? Out of this orbit, I soar with the pen. I'm eating good, Miss Caloric as shit. I